Welcome to the Trading Bell Show, and in the house we have Homeboyz Entertainment, and the CEO, Myke Rabar, is right here, and he'll be letting us know what's happening there to the newly, if I may use that word, listed company. We have a PLC title under them. But first, let's take a look at his profile.
Myke Rabar is the founder and CEO of Homeboyz Entertainment since 1995. He is also the CEO of Publicis One EAS Africa since 2016. In 2012, he received a commendation for outstanding services rendered to the youth, sports, entertainment and entrepreneurship sectors. Homeboyz did sign on a valuable and strategic global partnership with Publicis Group Worldwide, Europe's largest integrated marketing and communication agency, making Homeboyz Entertainment Limited a marketing, communications and advertising industry force in less than 2 years. He has started various businesses under the Homeboyz Entertainment Group, such as HBTV and Homeboyz Activate. Myke has steered the business to achieve phenomenal growth for more than 20 years. He became a key player in sports philanthropy as well by cultivating a top league rugby team in less than 5 years.
Myke Rabar, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's good to have you and good to see you. And it's interesting that I just called you Homeboyz Entertainment PLC. And I know I've not prepared you for this, but it's good to ask you, having that title, how does it feel? What does it mean as well?
I think for us it totally just shifts the brand to a different stratosphere.
Yes.
The word PLC is very, very powerful. It's like having an HEC, given an award from on MBS.
Yes.
You know, but this is not add to a corporate. So PLC for us means we're now a public limited company. Yeah. And we're not owned just by ourselves, but by the whole world can own a bit of the business.
You're right.
It totally changes our outlook towards doing business.
Okay. I'll be coming to that because I'll be really interested to hear your journey for the sake of people who would also be interested to have such a title on them. But first, let's talk about your results, which you released, quite impressive, coming from a season that you had said you were facing serious headwinds, especially during the COVID time. And the question I wanted to ask you is, first of all, what's your comment on the results that you released, and are you happy?
I think we're doing somersaults.
Yeah.
Actually, so having come back, coming from 2019, we were doing pretty well. We had very immense revenue numbers in 2019. Come COVID 2020, we went literally dropped revenues by almost half. You know,
yeah.
Come 2021 on an upward trend, and eventually 2022, where we did very, very well. Actually, it was our record numbers ever since the inception of the business. So I think the revenues last year have been amazing.
Has been amazing.
Yes.
Okay. So it's more like a progression, and we can call it a recovery as well.
I think it's a bit of both, yes. So we're coming out of ICU and leaving the hospital smiling, you know? Yeah, but in all honesty, it's been a very interesting journey, and possibly COVID has had a silver lining in that it made us really look at ourselves and look at how we're doing our business. Yeah. And made us really understand the landscape of where we dwell, or what we actually partake in. And it made us really innovate. Okay. Be a bit more I think more agile, and we're able to see that growth in numbers.
Okay. And I'm sure you have had your share of headwinds and challenges that you faced over the time as you were really recovering and all that. And I'm sure even now there's still some. So it would be interesting to understand from your perspective, of course, having made the profits that you've made now, what are some of the headwinds that you had to really overcome, and are there any fresh ones still that you're still fighting on? Yeah,
talking of headwinds, obviously COVID had a very huge impact on our business. Our business is very experiential. You're right. We're always customer facing, out there and dealing with consumers on one-on-one. And with the advent of COVID, we had to really, that was obviously curtailed. We couldn't go out there and do anything. So we're all locked indoors. We're forced to try and reinvent ourselves. And for an experiential-based business, people facing, it was almost impossible. So one thing is, yes, we couldn't go out there and do work. Secondly, again, obviously spending by our partners or customers was cut by almost 90%. So again, you could imagine that now what we were, so we had contracts that were constantly ongoing that had to be curtailed and just stopped without any form of warning. We had staff that couldn't get to work. Again, so some staff actually, because of that impasse, have changed careers and moved to other lines of business that I think are a bit more viable or a bit more secure. And the other thing we've seen is, again, consumer patterns have changed in how they consume media and how they get entertained or how they partake of our services. So that has also been a very huge shift. And the headwinds, I think, will always be there. It's just that now I think we're probably we've become a bit more versatile and a bit more, I keep using the word agile, and being able to adapt and accommodate those new headwinds. But as you can see, with new leadership, there'll always be political challenges as well. Change of guard in many enterprises. Renegotiating contracts again.
You're right.
New laws that impact on our business. New taxation issues. So there's a lot of those are the usual, but I think now more so than ever.
You just mentioned that, and there was a huge conversation about some of the pending bills from county governments. I hope they're not part of your trade, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. As part of your headwinds, we have a lot of business people who have complained as well and saying some of those pending bills really affect their performance.
Without a doubt, yes.
You're right. Let's talk about the positives and the learnings that you've gained over that season. And the reason why I'm asking this is because the shareholders, the people who are pro Homeboyz Entertainment, really want to know how prepared are we to continue on in a trajectory that you've already started.
Okay, first let's just go and first of all and just mention the Booker program and just big up the program for preparing us for this transition. Because without the Booker program, it would have been almost impossible to become PLC. So that program has really also been very fundamental in preparing us both mentally, institutionally, structurally, to be able to play in a space where we are right now. So the program was very useful in terms of being able to prepare us and enlighten us on what it takes. And just doing that whole education of preparing for listing, it also helps us realign our business.
You're right.
And so just by going through that program, we've now taken a different approach, as to how we intend to, or we continue to grow or improve on the business. And obviously, having been listed in the NSC comes with a lot of benefits that we as an institution are able to mine off. And one of them being the fact that we're very attractive to potential investors, not just locally but internationally. And that is also giving us possibly giving us more wings in our sail, to call it that. So we can now be a bit more ambitious in what we're trying to achieve. We are a lot more frugal on how we conduct our business. We're a lot more accountable. We're compliant with all the statutories that you need to run a business in this country, which also makes life easier for a small business like ours, and that way it just gives you a very wide open space in which you can now try and experiment with new ideas. And that what that means for our shareholders is there's always going to be something new we're trying to bring to the fold. We're not scared of trying or experimenting with new ideas because we have a cushion now to be able to try. Some might not work, but obviously it gives us more courage. Yes,
absolutely. And you've just mentioned on what I may call it a nerve, because at the NSC, very much focused to ensure that SMEs really take up and look at it in a positive way of actually raising funds. So I'll be asking you more about that journey, because last I checked, there was something like GEMS, then now you're here, you have the PLC title. But we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back speaking to Homeboyz Entertainment CEO, and he has the PLC title. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Trading Bell Show. We are speaking to Myke, Rabar, CEO Homeboyz Entertainment PLC. They've just come from a season where he was speaking a little bit about his journey. He's going to elaborate more. So Myke, welcome back again.
Thank you.
From the start of listing at, actually not listing, incubation at Ibuka to Gems, and now PLC title on your head. How has it been?
Yeah, I think it's been a very interesting journey. Obviously, very rigorous, very, very tough. Yeah. It's not for the faint-hearted. I can tell you for a fact. And what this journey has taught us is about resilience. Yeah, you know, and again, if you want to be PLC, you tick as many boxes as anybody else. You're right. I think there's no shortcuts. Yeah, and the Booker program, I think, having sat through that for over a year, really prepared us, first of all, mentally, you know, to understand that yes, running business and trying to create a standard that is internationally acceptable requires a lot of discipline, requires a lot of commitment, requires a lot of structures in place, which is what a lot of small businesses don't have, actually. Coming from where we came from, where obviously for us we had to do a lot of re-engineering. Okay. Yeah, just to compliance. And I think being in the Booker program helped us now tick those boxes. So that, like Mouth say, was obviously a game changer for us. Okay. Without that program, there's no way we'd be having this discussion now. Because like I said, it is quite a rigorous, very rigorous exercise. Very rigorous, and needs a lot of hand-holding as well. Okay. I mean, there are times you feel like, is it really worth it, you know? But then again, you look at the bigger picture and what it means for you, then you'll just soldier on. Yeah, so I think that exercise is really useful, and I encourage anyone out there who wants to, even if you're not going to list, at least organize your business in such a way that it's easy to attract investors, to join the Booker program. Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And I know, I mean, I like the last sentence that it's not all doom, that there's light at the end of the tunnel, and look at the results now. Anyway, let's speak about your intro, because you have quite a number of, if I may call them subsidiaries within Homeboyz Entertainment. And I'd be curious to understand what your plans are in this, in regard to those particular areas. So based on your strategy and your focus, what are you looking at so that at least you can continuously add value? And I don't mind if you can actually go through some of your subsidiaries by mention. Okay.
Yeah, so we started off in the music entertainment business, which we still are.
You are a DJ. At your Gems listing, I saw you do some spin, right?
I still DJ, actually. And
you still do?
Oh, yeah, I still do, yeah. So that's been obviously the trigger of the journey. Yeah. I started DJing when I was 13 years old, you know?
Okay.
That was many years ago.
Many years ago. I don't want to say what I was doing at 13.
Yeah.
Go on.
But yes, definitely I went into that. I started getting into that, into business at a very early age, and obviously it kicked off as a hobby, not really as a business. It ended up being what it is now. But all along that transition of especially of the industry and our maturity in that area, we discovered very, very interesting areas that were not being nobody was taking advantage of. So again, a lot of the things we do actually based on it were developed off a need basis. So in this environment where you're trying to deliver to consumers or whatever product we have in place, and realize that there's always no one who can support you. That becomes a business line for you as well. So we built a lot of small intricate, let me call them departments within the group that help support our core business. So we now we're able to deliver turnkey solutions, end-to-end turnkey solutions. So for instance, if we're looking at huge productions where we have now a whole TV department that can produce content. We have a whole power division that just powers events and provides infrastructure for big events. You know, we have a whole PR team within us that helps us promote and package some of these ideas. We have a whole advertising agency that helps us also create brands that we want to now sell to consumers. So you find within that each department has built its own, it's become its own independent unit because it supports our business, but we realize it also supports our partners' business as well. So we are really looking at each of those lines and eventually mapping them out to become their own unique businesses, because there is a demand for those services within the ecosystem we've created.
Okay. Wow. And really, congratulations on that, and keep going that. I'll be asking you, when you look back, the learnings of how to build such a business? Because there are people who are saying, man, one day I'd like to sit like Myke Rabar in my whatever industry they're in. But first, let's go back to the share trading, because you have started share trading, and I'm curious to know how is the activity going and what does it mean as well for you? And
I think I must, first of all, I'm going to congratulate my team and my advisors on helping us package ourselves to be very attractive to our first initial investor. So you got somebody who's taking up 30% stake in the business, which for us is a very big deal.
That's a big one.
You know, it's a really big one. So already you can see that we created a lot of interest in by what we do. And we've got a very strategic partner who also has a lot of has a lot of leeway into entertainment and the media. So we're going to see a lot of movement in that area, and the fact that they've invested heavily in us just shows that we are doing the right thing, and they see a lot of growth in the areas that we're going to partake in. In terms of retail investors, we started trading last week. I think we had the highest trading counter last week on Monday, which for us is a big
Congratulations.
deal. You know? It's very encouraging to see that there's a lot of interest in what we're doing, especially from a very unique type of consumer, people who have never traded before. You know, and I was saying, hang on, what are you guys doing? I want to buy a piece of this business. You know, I've seen you guys grow. I want to be part of this journey. How do we get a chance to how do you get a chance to own a bit of it? So I'm getting a lot of interesting requests from very strange sectors you'd never imagine. But I think all in all, it's also created a lot of interest around the NSE. What does it mean, and how do people now get to invest whatever little monies they have in this space? So I think what it's done for us and also for the NSCs, you'll see a whole new shift in terms of audiences coming in to realize how they can actually reinvest.
You're right. You're right. Of course, on the same note, somebody's watching and saying, "Oh my, they are trading. Okay, they're already in the market." Yes, they are. Someone was asking, "Is this a company to jump into and the likes?" So what's your call to them?
Well, I think, again, just as, again, I keep going back around to the Ibuka, there are various reasons why companies would list, all right? One of our key, I think, drivers for listing was really to give our consumers the chance to own the business, you know? I've grown with consumers over decades, you know, and some like, okay, fine, we've been new since you're in high school, now we're married with kids. Can you own a bit of the business, you know?
Yes.
All right. And I keep getting that kind of request from some of my peers and the people around that age bracket saying, how do you put money into this business? So it's realized the best way to give them a chance to own the business is by listing. So that was one of the drivers that really motivated us to actually get in there and reorganize ourselves and give this these are lifetime fans, a chance to own the business. And now you find that there's a dad buying for himself and his sons or his daughters shares in the company, which for me is very, very interesting. And that just goes to show that they have, whether they've stormed with us, they've journeyed with us and seen how far we've gone and have a lot of faith in what we're doing. And maybe that we'll be discussing that later, what are the future plans for the business. But I think where we've reached now has been I think it's a milestone for the business, and it really has gotten the traction it's always required. It's almost one of the legacy brands that's been here for a long time. And so we're going to take advantage of that.
Okay. Of course, in parting, we just want to pick a few of your gems. One of it is building such a business to where it is now, to even list it, you know. And I know you have spoken about the journey, but just key learnings for someone who's saying, one day, I want to build my business to, you know, the heights you've gone to. What are some of your key learnings? This is on the leadership angle that you can say, you know what, if you really want to get here, this is some of the things I've picked along, and this is some of the lessons I've taken home. One or two that you can share. I know there could be a myriad of them.
I think obviously the big cliche is just focus on the prize, you know, and the prize, be very clear on what your objectives are. And don't get distracted. You know, it could be whatever line it is. But what I just say is always focus on the big picture. And then you've got to believe in the journey yourself to bring others with you.
You're right.
All right. So that belief that you have to make it work and you've got no alternative. you know.
Yeah.
That's one of the important drivers you have to always have to. I think is one of the key lessons I learned with this is that when you tell people you want to list, half of them laughed it off and said, "How do you list? You're not Safaricom, you know."
You're right.
Yeah, and again, resilience is one of the things that it also has helped us get here. Is you define your dreams for yourself. Don't let anyone put a yardstick as to whether you're successful or not. That's all within you. And when you see the big brands or the big corporate brands out there, like surely all they have on me is just a bigger balance sheet.
Yeah.
You know, but the principle of running the business remains the same.
It's the same. You're
Or
right.
running a kiosk or supermarket, the principles are the same. You know, it's just that one is doing larger volumes than you are, but you have the same. You basically run through the same exercises. You know, and so once you know that scale is not the definitive of success.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it's efficiencies that define success. All right,
that's a whole package in itself.
Yeah.
Efficiency,
Yeah.
not just about skill.
I mean, if I tell you we're doing better than KQ.
No, you're right. No, you're right. When it comes to skill, there you're right.
All right. So it's something I can very proud to say that. Yeah, obviously, despite all the structures they have and all the resources they have towards them, we perform better than them last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but one thing that I must say is you should not, again, be intimidated by big players.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to win in your head. All right.
Wow. That's a heavy one, man.
Yeah. And then from there, then I think the rest will fall into play. The other thing that is very critical is just being accountable to the people around you.
Okay.
Is very, very, very important. You know, do things the right way at the right time, and you got nothing to fear.
Wow. I have to ask you this question. Kenyans in general, and I know your business has expanded beyond borders, but is the entertainment industry on a growth path? Would you say Kenyans are embracing this more, and in general, even East Africans are embracing this more? Are we on a growth path, or is it sort of like a stagnant line? What are you seeing in your
I can see the growth is there because there's consumption. The consumption is quadrupled, you know. It's just we're not growing at the same rate that the consumers expect, you know, and that's, I think, is an opportunity, more than a disadvantage, because there is going to be, or there already is a huge demand for entertainment in whatever format or shape or size. So there is definitely a very big need for it. It's just I think we're not structured enough to be able to fulfill that. And with that night, then give consumers an option, or give them options to go and look elsewhere. Yeah, and that becomes also very difficult to bring them back to your sector if you're not ready for them, and they're not going to wait for you.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah, so I think there is a huge demand and huge pull for it. It's just we're not structured well enough to fulfill that. So my fear that we don't organize ourselves sooner than later.
Yeah.
We'll then lose these consumers to this audience to another sector we have no control over.
All right. Myke, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks.
And congratulations on your shares trading as well.
No, thank you.
1 week old, right?
Yeah.
I should say happy birthday for 1 week of trading shares, right?
Exactly. Thank you so much.
All right, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
There you have it. Quite optimistic. Myke Rabar saying, you know what? This is the share to buy. The entertainment industry is on a growth path. So definitely the company is going to be growing. So if you're thinking, where do I put in my money? This is where it is, as he said. And the shares are going up and running, 30% gone already. So you better jump in. So there you have it, right here on the Trading Bell. I leave you right now with the markets.